19,504 jobs and $606 million. According to the Oklahoma Arts Council, this was the amount of artistic jobs and artistic sales lost between April and July of 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. To put this into perspective, this was about 66% of the artistic jobs lost and 69% of the artistic sales lost. Now, I saw these statistics mirrored perfectly in the OU School of Music's Catlett Music Center. So we all are very aware with the extreme disruption that COVID-19 caused us in 2020. Everything came to a stop, which included the arts, of course. And then we all had that time where we don't like to remember of 2020 to 2021 where nothing was really happening. We were stuck in our homes, we didn't really know what to do. But as I entered the School of Music in fall of 2022, which this growth started in the spring, I got to witness the slow uphill climb and improvement of these artistic communities. And here we are now, in spring of 2026. So what changed? This place, Catlett Music Center, used to be a place full of performances, full of student involvement. But when the pandemic happened, it became a place of silent hallways. Performances weren't even occurring, and most importantly, student organizations were close to being vanished. So you jump to spring of 2026, where we are today, and I like to think that the chatter heard in Catlett Music Center can be heard all the way to Dale Hall, a mile away. For our OU students that know, if you have to trek up to Catlett Music Center for your understanding music class, it is a long haul, but I think you can hear the community all the way to Dale Hall, a mile away. Student performances are at a high, the audiences are filled, and student organizations are improving at a rapid rate. As a future music educator and arts administrator, I have been observing the habits, the skills, the techniques that have been put on and grown by these student organizations over the past 6 years. And what I have found is that these skills built in our undergrad are extremely transferable in what I will be calling the real world, the scary postgraduate world that I will be entering in about 2 months. Now, what I mean by real world is, I know college is the real world, but I also acknowledge that in undergrad, this can be used as a rehearsal space. As a leader in an undergraduate setting, I am given the privilege to experiment, fail, try different leadership techniques in a way where the stakes are not as high. So my question today is, how can the leadership and community building strategies developed in these post-COVID student arts organizations be translated into sustainable, long-term success for the broader fine arts ecosystem? I'm going to share some of my favorite success stories over the past 2 years that I have seen within OU School of Music. First up, we have Sigma Alpha Iota, which is the women's music fraternity. When I was initiated in 2022, there were approximately 8 active members. After March of 2026, we'll be up to almost 40 members, and we have doubled in size over the past 2 recruitment seasons. OU's NAPI chapter, otherwise known as the National Association for Music Educators, when I entered as a freshman, the exec had extremely high turnover rates, the student involvement was incredibly low, and student attendance at these national conferences were almost nothing. We fast forward to last year, and we won the National Chapter Excellence Award in Professional Development and have the highest university attendance rate at the Oklahoma Music Educators Association Conference. We even have brand new artistic organizations. OU Music Outreach performs about twice a month at nursing homes, assisted livings, and special education facilities. And last year, they hosted their first annual benefit concert, which raised $6.5 thousand for the music therapy department at the Oklahoma Children's Hospital. And another new organization, the OU Mariachi Band, which received a $15,000 grant to fund a new set of vihuelas and guitarrones. I stand here today not only representing the organizations that I have been a part of, but the fearless student leaders at the University of Oklahoma's School of Music. And through in-depth survey and conversation with my colleagues, I have found that there are 5 key leadership techniques that will lead to stability, consistency, and long-term success within those real-world artistic organizations and continue to serve the global artistic ecosystem. Number 1, your why. Find your why. Why are you in this organization? Why does this organization deserve a spot on your packed calendar? Why does this organization deserve more to-dos added to that lengthy list? I encourage organizations to get together and talk about a shared mission with those foundational statements and those non-negotiables. After that group statement is made, ask each individual member their why. Why are you here? It's a simple question. And in Sigma Alpha Iota, when we ask our members for their SAI why, a lot of them say that they love that female support system when a lot of them are in those male-dominated spaces in the instrumental world. Since they have that emotional connection to the organization, that is why it stays on their to-do list. That is why it stays on their calendar. Your community. We all want to be a part of community. We all want to have our own village, but it seems these days no one wants to be a villager. I was just listening to the Ezra Klein show through the New York Times podcast, listening to Priya Parker. She was an advisor for the campaign managers of the newly elected New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, whose whole campaign was rooted in community building governance. Priya Parker encourages us to host through the inconvenience. Invite people places. Invite people to events. Host events that don't have the perfect venue, don't have the most amazing food, and maybe the timing is inconsistent. Maybe people are busy. Invite them anyway. In the past 2 years, Sigma Alpha Iota and our brother organization, Phi Mu Alpha, we have hosted a social after the jazz concert for the past 2 years. This is on a Monday. It is 9 p.m. People are exhausted. It's in the middle of the semester, and we host it in a classroom in the music building. No decorations. We have crock pot hot chocolate, no special divine charcuterie board. But this is our most attended event throughout the year and brings people in. And that is why our recruitment is so successful. We host through the inconvenience. Your traditions. Everybody loves a tradition to look forward to. People like to know what's up next. In the School of Music, we have established the Music Education Chili Cook-Off, the Rose Ball, which is our School of Music formal, swing dancing after marching band practice, and our first annual Catlett for Kids, which was the benefit concert that I talked about earlier. Having these traditions bring people in. It brings them into something to look forward to. And I have loved seeing that first annual title my freshman year turn into now the 4th annual for my senior year. And I am extremely positive that these titles will turn into double-digit numbers. Number 4, your transitions. When passing the baton to the next leader, it is imperative that you give them the correct tools that they need. Give them every timeline, every guideline, every note that you took, every to-do list that you had, every inner monologue, every failure that you encountered during your position. What happened in 2020 when school came to a stop, those senior leaders graduated. They went on, and when people took these new exec positions in 2022 or 2023, those skills, those guidelines, those traditions, those tips and tricks were lost. The power of reflection. Do not underestimate it. And make sure you are sharing to the people coming after you how they can succeed. Lastly, your skills. There are multiple skills that we each have. You have your strengths, you have your weaknesses, and I'm going to share some skills that the people I admire have shared to me. First up, trust. The General Director of Opera Theater of St. Louis, Andrew Jorgensen, who I've worked with the past 2 years, really encourages young leaders to trust their team. He says, if I am gone for the day as the General Director, he oversees everybody. If I'm gone for the day, the organization should continue on like normal. It should be like he's still there, right? No one even knows that he's gone, and that is not because he goes MIA and doesn't do anything. That is because he has distributed and he has delegated these tasks so well that just when one person is gone, the organization still functions. I like to relate this to a high school football team, the seniors. They have just won the championship, and they say, what are they going to do without us? We are leaving, and the football program is going to crash and burn without us. What's the point in being involved in something if the people coming after you can't feel that same success? Have you really done your job if you have not educated the freshmen, the sophomores, the juniors coming after you? Have trust in your team, whether they're on the same level as you, whether they're in charge of you, whether you're in charge of them. Confidence is key. As the leader, you are in charge of the emotional state of the room. I like to think about a toddler. I don't like to think about it, but if a toddler falls and hits their head and the mother immediately starts sobbing, whether the toddler feels pain or not, the toddler is going to sob. There might be no scratch, no bump, no pain, but if the mother is sobbing, the toddler immediately starts as well. So I do not have any children of my own, but I have been given the great privilege of being the student teacher at Norman North's high school choir for the last 2 months. And the way that these teachers that I am observing, the way they go through their day with confidence and grace and consistency, nothing can stop them. The inconsistency and chaos of a high school day is absolutely insanity. But my teachers go about their day with confidence. They have their routine, and their students know what is expected of them. Have confidence, and the people on your team will know how to go about their days. My last one. This one's a little strange. It's just pizza. One of my dear friends who used to work at Hideaway Pizza, we're on exec team together. Anytime we are absolutely stressed out about something in our sorority, she goes, "It's just pizza." And I go, "Oh my gosh, you're so right. You're so right. What does this mean though, right? What does this mean for us?" Obviously, as artists, what we are doing is deeply important and has deep significance, but we have to remember we are not brain surgeons. We are actively enhancing others' lives, and we have to remember if we are stressed, it's just pizza. This can be an incredible grounding technique and an incredible perspective as an artistic leader. So how does this apply to you? You maybe don't consider yourself an artist. Maybe you can barely hold a tune. Maybe you don't consider yourself a leader either, but rather a follower. Let me ask you this. Has your child ever spent time in an elementary music classroom through specials at their school? Do you listen to music on your way to work? Do you go to the movie theater with your friends? If you answered yes to any of those questions, congratulations, because you are a part of the artistic ecosystem. That elementary music teacher, that producer of your favorite song, and those actors in the movie you love, all of their skills were nurtured by these artistic ecosystems. We are currently still in a very inconsistent place within the arts. Just this past May, $27 million of grants were revoked by the National Endowment for the Arts due to lack of government funding. Now, I do not say this to bring the energy down, but I say this to remind us of how inconsistent of an environment we are in, which proves that our leadership techniques need to be more consistent than they ever have been. I just wanted to thank the School of Music and the University of Oklahoma for giving me a space to hone in on my leadership skills and hone in on my leadership habits. And I am confident that not just me, but my colleagues will bring these skills to enhance the artistic world that we all live in, whether we know it or not. How can you help? What can you do today, tomorrow? I encourage you to pour into the interns at your work. I encourage you to inquire with the young professionals that you work with. Participate or purchase from a student bake sale. Attend collegiate presentations like this one. You're already helping by being here today, by listening, right? Pour into those young professionals, specifically those young artists. I want you to encourage your students, your children, to be creative. Be creative yourself. Attend a musical. Listen to music. Allow yourself to be creative, because if you do, you will become a part of the blueprint for longevity within the fine arts. Thank you.